Hi there and welcome to the channel. I'm Anah Parreli. Thank you for joining me today. If you're a newbie, I say thank you for being part of my journey. If you're a repeat visitor, same to you. Thank you for being part of the journey and thank you for being interested enough to come and watch these videos on a Sunday. I call them yarning in case people aren't aware, because yarning is something that we say in Australia when we're just having a chat. So my Sunday videos are basically just to update you all on what is happening with the channel, what information and content that you might see go up over the next couple of weeks or months or whatever, or what is happening currently that might be a hiccup and glitch to me loading content. And the other thing is sometimes I just like to have a chat, and because I can't really have an interactive one at the moment because of my technology, but we'll talk about that later. Maybe at some point I might get a Patreon account happening. I hear that's where there's interactive conversations happen. I might have to look into it. If you know anything about Patreon, would you mind making a comment and let me know whether or not you think it's a good option for me? Because I really don't know enough about it. So I'm interested in any comments about Patreon. Please, thank you. So over the last couple of weeks, if you've watched my yarning videos, you'll know that I've been talking about animal medicine, and because I've got this amazing tree out the front, and in between doing my work and whatever, I'll spend some time on my front veranda and check out this beautiful big tree because it has an abundance of birds flying in and out. Problem being is that the weather is starting to turn at the moment, and I haven't actually seen many birds come through, so it's been a little bit disappointing. So, well, not disappointing really, because I just especially love it when the birds come in, but it's an amazing tree anyway, and it does drop its leaves over the winter months, and it looks like it's going to start dropping them probably a bit early this year. So anyway, upon reflection, because I can't talk about the birds, I thought I would talk about this cat. Now, for those people that aren't aware, I had a stray move in, and there's a bit of a story about this. It happened at a time when I was caring for an elderly dog with a heart condition, and the dog hated cats. She was just a little terrier. If you know anything about dogs, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And she seemed to get her joy in life through running up and down the fence and barking at everybody that walked past. And if a cat came into the yard, God forbid. Well, anyway, as I said, she was ailing. She was in poor health. She had a heart condition, and as her health started to decline, I became aware, obviously, that it was really declining because she didn't have the same enthusiasm and stamina to run up and down the fence, and her capacity to react to people was a little bit more limited. Well, funnily enough, one day a cat, not this cat, these are just some photos that are very similar to the cat that I've had turn up, quite the moggy actually, and it turns out quite the street fighter as it happens as well. But anyway, she moved in, and she moved into the roof. She lived in the roof. At that point in time, because the little doggy was still alive, I didn't really want to invite the cat in because I thought it was like taunting the dog. It just didn't feel like the right thing to do. So I didn't encourage her indoors is where I'm going. But because she was a stray, I was concerned about her killing wildlife, so I started feeding her. So that's a bit of a story in itself. Anyway, where I'm going with that is the cat remains. It's been a couple of years now, and she really is not interested in being indoors. I've tried to encourage her in, but every time I invite her in the house, she'll come in, but then she acts like she's been trapped and she needs to get out. So she's a real street cat these days, a real fighter too, I might add. Well, where I'm going with this is she's quite the fixture. She's got used to having dinner provided to her, and if I don't get it out there in a timely way, she'll be at the door screaming at me with her best meows and yows, and I very rarely get any affection from her. And because the little doggy passed over quite some time ago, I quite often think about getting a little kitten or a little puppy, and I think, no, that wouldn't be fair. If I got a puppy, the cat would probably beat it up because the cat beats up the neighbourhood dogs. And then if I got a little kitten, this little cat, she might not be happy about that. And then it's like, well, if I got a bird, I couldn't get a bird because I'd need to put it in the cage. And then I started to realise just the other day, I was thinking to myself, I'm depriving myself of comfort and affection from an animal because I've got a stray moggy has moved in. And I thought, she's really not very affectionate, I might add. So we were sitting outside the other night, And she popped up as she did, and I thought, oh, I might get some affection from her tonight. I might be able to even give her some. Because she can be sociable. She talks to me. She tends to meow at me. And anyway, where I'm going with this is I looked at her and I just turned around and told her straight. There was no telepathy about this. I just said to her, you know what? I feel quite used and abused by you at times. You never give me any affection. I said, I feel completely unloved by you. I said, but I always put food out for you. Where I'm going with this is I got up the next morning and I found this. Obviously, not exactly this photo, but very similar to it. So, suffice to say, I'm actually quite impressed by her capacity to take on board my words and to understand what I was saying. Because if anybody knows anything about cats, when they bring you presents, that's their way of saying that they love you. It's not the best present I've ever wanted to receive, I must add, but I know it was meant for me because of where it gets placed. So if they place it by the seat that you sit at, for example, so that you've got to step over it as she did, then they're really saying, here it is, mum, here it is, I love you. So quite disgusting, but quite impressive all the same. So I'll get off this page and we'll go on to the next slide. So I'll try and whip along because obviously I could talk the hind leg off a horse, I think is what they call it. The animal wisdom for this week, because I haven't got the birds, I actually heard the frogs. We had a bit of rain, and so I thought, well, I'll talk about the motorbike frog because that's actually, I think, native to Western Australia, which is where I live, and they have an amazing sound that they make, which does sound like a motorbike, which is where they got their name from. And the medicine of all frogs is basically about purification, cleansing, transformation, and change. And basically, it symbolises, letting go of that old emotional baggage that weighs us down and just basically to allow ourselves to move on from it. Also, because the motorbike has a rhythmic croaking sound, it becomes a reminder of the cycles of nature as well and this eternal and ongoing process of renewal. As far as medicine goes, it really is a guide to letting go of the past, which of course is relevant to all of us at different stages, and I'm no different. And another reason why the animal medicine is to do with cycles of life is because, of course, you've got the stages of the frog where it goes from being the little frog spawn or whatever, turns into a tadpole, turns into a frog, all of this kind of thing. So it's just a reminder that life is cyclical and there's always this ongoing growth and renewal, which is wonderful, wonderful medicine. It also reminds us, because they are agile, that we do have the capacity to be very agile with the way we move and to escape predators or whatever, or if need be, to catch or take opportunities when they present to us or make the most of them. So, as far as what is new on the channel or what I've uploaded on YouTube, it's primarily the colour content at the moment and the numerology. So, it's just going through those processes. So just a reminder, with the colour content, what I've got on there is I have the videos, which are a bit longer, and then I'm making a short for each particular video, and that's loaded to both the shorts playlist and to the Power of Colour playlist. And this is because I want to make it a little bit easier for you, the viewer or the listener. The short stuff is basically more focused on the nuts and bolts of a colour, and sometimes they'll give you strategy, sometimes they won't, but the full-length video gives you the whole ball and dice, I think they say. Now, this week, if you've been watching the colour content that goes up, I've loaded the properties or the video on this particular type blue, which is about activation. Next week, I will be loading what is scheduled. I think it's for Tuesday. There's another one, another blue type video that refers to healing and, spiritual hygiene, that kind of thing. I'm not going to talk about it now. You can watch the video if you want to know more about it. I've also loaded the video, you will have seen this one go up this week as well, The Power of White. And yes, there are shorts for both the blue, well, for all the videos that I'm putting up at the moment as well. So you will have seen this one go up. So coming soon, I'm actually just going to refer to the content that we've got going up next week, just to make it a little bit easier for you. we do have the colour videos, and I'll give you a look at the slides. We also have this video going up. This one's scheduled for next week, so just keep your eye out for it. It's one that I recommend when I talk about that spiritual hygiene that I did before. It's about purification and cleansing. It's something that we can do on a daily basis, the same as brushing our teeth and having a shower. It's not time consuming. But anyway, that's a very, I consider to be valuable video and healing strategy or energy technique for people to use. And the video on indigo is actually scheduled for next Friday, if I'm correct. And of course, for those that aren't aware, but I think most people probably are, the colour indigo is associated with the brow chakra and the capacity to be able to see clearly past the surface and past the superficial. So anyway, that hopefully will provide value to people. You know, hopefully it's up your alley as well. But that one's for Friday. So when it comes to the coming soon, I had initially hoped that I would have had this loaded by Thursday. Then I was hopeful I would have this particular video loaded by Sunday, or by Saturday rather, so that we could talk about it on the Sunday. But anyway, as things happen, I've been a bit delayed with it, and only because I'm being a little pedantic. I couldn't find the right colour themes. I was trying to make it perfect. And so, yeah, look, long story short, my desire to perfect it, combined with the long upload and download times, which we'll talk about in a little while, has meant that this has now been delayed. But that's okay, because I can now promise you unequivocally, I can confirm with you, this video is going to be loaded on Thursday upcoming. And the angel of knowledge is actually, I feel, a very important subject, and I think that we could do a whole video actually just talking about him, especially if we could do it interactively, to get clarification, because there is a big difference between what we learn, what we know, and what we believe, and what we think. You know what I mean? There becomes that whole thing. And this video hopefully will give you a bit of clarification on how to recognize your own knowledge and even your intuition. But anyway, that'll be on Thursday. Technology, I can't even speak, it just gets to me so badly. Technology continues to be a nightmare. The service provider hasn't got back to me to tell me the outcomes of the infrastructure stuff, which that's okay, that's life, I can deal with it. But at the same time, it does create problems for me in as far as it just takes me so long to upload and download at the moment as well. And I have no idea what is impacting and influencing it. But we have got over the issues that I had with the creation of the videos. That's been fixed, and now we're just back to the good old lack of infrastructure. So my apologies, but I'll tell you what, if anybody wants to be an unpaid worker on this channel, uploading and downloading, hey, put your hand up, contact me, let me know. That would be appreciated as well. Thank you. So just a reminder, we're almost finished with the meaning of numbers on the birth chart. That's, I think the last one, that might finish this week or next week. Either way, we're going to start looking at arrows on the birth chart, and I've written the note here that the first one gets loaded on April 22nd. So if you think that this is going to be something that interests you, keep an eye out for it. I will click the notify so that people are aware of it. And it was actually a bit bigger than what I thought it would be. I think I've broken it down into 5 videos because there's a lot of arrows on the birth chart. You would be actually quite surprised. And it just makes the videos incredibly long if I talk too much about any one of them. But I think it needs to be, it's something that we've got to look at. If people are hoping to do their own charts, then they need to really form a good understanding, shape a good understanding about what these arrows mean and how they impact on a person's life, how they can be a strength or they can be a vulnerability. And certainly when it comes to parents, what they can actually do to help their child to overcome any vulnerabilities on the birth charts. Now, after we finish those, I've already started working on it, is teaching people how to do the numerology pyramids and peaks. Okay, so that's kind of a predictive thing, but I think people will be interested in that. So let's have a look at what a pyramid looks like. So, if you haven't seen a numerology pyramid before, this is what they actually look like. I mean, obviously, you're going to design it as one that you can read yourself, but basically, everybody is born with 4 peaks to look forward to in their life. And what it's a very complex subject. It's very confusing, actually, when you first start doing it, which is one of the reasons why I put chapters on the videos. And in this particular one, because it's complex, I would imagine if you're looking forward to doing it, I do suggest in the video, have a pen and paper ready and do your own first. And I'll talk you through it. And then it just becomes a case of becoming more comfortable with it. And the more you do, the more confident you become at it. But it's certainly complex when you first begin, but it's also really interesting. And to be honest, I'm really not sure how accurate it is as a predictive tool, but I think it's an interesting exercise and just something fun to do. So we'll be talking about the pyramids after we talk about the arrows. So as I said before, I'm going to load Raziel on Thursday, and then from here on in, what I'm hoping to do is actually, I know in the last video, I think I talked about loading an angel type video every fortnight or whatever. Well, I've rethought that, and I'm trying to get ahead of myself and get a handle on it all, because it just will take forever to get the content up. So what I've decided to do is I want to aim to load one every Thursday so that we can get some regularity in there and some consistency for you guys, and so that you know what to expect. So yes, that is coming soon. So in regard to the art reels, I have had a bit of fun doing a bit of art this week, but not as much as I'll be doing next week. I have a feeling I'll be doing a lot more because I'll be working on those videos for the angels and that. So we've got a couple of art images here, and I particularly like this one here. Is supposed to be Maya Angelou, because I've done a video of quotes for her. So we've got the quotes going up regularly. Of course, I've taken out the AI. I'm using my own voice. Anyway, there's going to be quotes coming regularly on the Wednesday as usual. Well, my friends, it looks like I have now given you all the information that I can do for this week. So I just want to say a big thank you for hanging in there till the end of the video. Thanks for being part of my journey. I really hope you have a wonderful week, blessed day. Keep an eye on the channel, take care, and I'll catch you on the next video. Bye-bye for now.